And we're good.
Hey everybody, welcome back to X's for Show, your premier media response show. You guys know what we do. We're here to talk about Drag Race. It's Sunday night. Get fucked. I'm Nico. You guys can check me out at Nico Action, NICOATTION.
So aggressive.
Really, truly.
I'm TK, and I'm having a very chill night at TK Accidental.
I'm Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah. I'm sorry, I'm not usually in this top corner.
I don't know how you got there. I really don't.
My name is Tori, and I'm on the bottom this week. Thanks, SM Tori with an I.
All right, brats, there you go. I am the long-suffering producer, KEVO, and I deal with these kids when they have their temper tantrums about being in the wrong. This isn't college. You don't need assigned seats. All of this drama, you know what? It makes sense that this is family week. So we are here. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But obviously, we're here to talk Drag Race, and we're here to talk Family Week on Drag Race.
Speaking of families, my mom said to me, because my parents were on a cruise, and so I'm catching up with my mom, and she said, so how's Mid-Century Modern? Because I know it dropped. And I was like, we had a good time with it. We watched it all in a day. Really enjoyed it. And she said, I read that, it's really funny, but the lingo is tough for people who aren't in. Like, your dad's not going to know what a reluctant bottom is. And I thought to myself, but he'd know one if he saw one.
He would.
So,
He would.
Let's talk the season that thinks that mini challenges don't matter. This season just fucks your mini challenge right out the door. It says your mini challenge, get fucked. It's immediately not having it, and I don't know why. I feel like this season, it's just been a little bit unusual because the focus has been in creating a season, not in spotlighting girls. And I feel like the last couple seasons were about creating superstars, but this one feels like it's about making a tapestry of rich and royal hue, an ever-shifting drag queen, and an ever-shifting hue. That would be Carol Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, go ahead, TK.
No, please.
I wonder if that's a little bit the fact that everyone and their mother who has eyes can see who's going to take this one. So now it's like, how do we highlight these other girls in such a way where like more people are maybe like, well, if this queen wins instead of Anya, I guess I wouldn't be too mad. And they're like trying to set up like your secondary preferences. I don't know. I'd been feeling like we'd been losing mini challenges every season. Like there were fewer and fewer and fewer. And then this season it's back. And honestly, I don't care if they mean nothing. I just like watching the girls do stupid things. Yeah. Spill the tea. Let's go.
I would sort of, I like when they mean something, but even when I like when they take an amount of skill and impress me, but then even when that is the case, they don't mean anything. Like they can't, Lucy was ridiculous when she said she'd won mini challenges because even the ones that she'd won weren't like, okay, but you had to try really hard for that. Like it's pretty rare for the mini challenge to be something that like, I always think back to even something like Lil Pound Cake. Still kind of didn't take a lot of skill, but they came up with something so brilliant that it became impressive because they tapped into something, from that same season, Jinx as kind of the Olsen twin when they were doing like, there are times when a mini challenge can impress a little bit, but no matter what, it's not going to mean anything. And I wish they would do some where it was like, no, like, we don't have a lot of time, but we want you to do something that impresses us. And here's like a legit prize, not just like picking the order. When it's all of these, it's fine too. It's fun. It's fine. But it really means absolutely nothing and it shouldn't matter and it doesn't matter. And if doing this lets you pick the order, that shouldn't be seen as anything, and that was really the really important thing that came out of the order drama was guys, it really doesn't matter. Like, you're good or you're bad. Yeah, could it have a little bit of an effect, or might Michelle Visage say, you had a tough time because you got put last? Sure, but at the end of the day, if you're funny, you're funny, and if you're not, you're not, and that is the end of the story. So the order doesn't matter. Therefore, being the person who gets to pick the order doesn't matter. Therefore, if you win a mini challenge where it's like, paint faces on each of your toes and make them, death drop, that's not impressive. That's just like a funny thing we did to take up time.
And also,
And
like, we
that's a
took
really
up time
good phrase
on...
for it.
Yeah, taking up time, especially on this episode, because I did feel like the pre-runway was shortened, and I think it's because we took a lot of time on this. Kevo, you felt similarly?
Yeah, no, and it's just that phrase specifically, taking up time. There's like, I really feel like in some ways challenges like this, at least it's trying to tell you things about the girls and how they feel about each other. But the one that I always go to is the humping balloons against pit crew members. There was like, it's good bachelorette party fun, sure, but it didn't really serve any purpose. It didn't tie into any theme, and there's a lot of ones that are like that, and that's the toenail painting ones, where it's just it's eating up time, and you might as well not have done a mini challenge at all in that case.
I don't want to be too spoilery, but just wait till you guys start painting your toenails on air for mini challenges in Draft Race.
Those piggies cost money, honey.
Oh, true.
And I got to be honest, I ain't showing the size 13s for free. So
no free feet.
Speaking of things that the girls are giving away when they could be charging, the drama and the love. One of the things that this episode had in plenty and many flavors, even before we get to the girls' love for each other, which I loved, and for their families. One of the things that I've really enjoyed watching is Lexi came ready to fucking slay the shit out of Drag Race. Brilliant package, brilliant performer, brilliant and amazing top to bottom. However, she came ready to let Susie Toot take up permanent real estate in her mind and destroy her psychologically inside and out until she's incapable of recovering like a shattered blender. And I'm here to say it was really cool hearing Lexi kind of go through what I went through in high school, where instead of continuing to be really jealous of all the theater kids my senior year, I just wrote the fucking spring musical. Sorry about it. And I just stepped into the role. And I think that's what was really great about this episode in so many ways.
I would agree, except it's kind of reversed for Lexi. Like, Lexi came in having stepped into the role and then got spooked. And so is now, this is like almost kind of a redemption arc. Like, Lexi started the show really well. Like, and so I feel like it's a bit of a different story. And I love that I love seeing her, come to the conclusion in her confessional, like, oh, like I really, I like that was very beautiful.
Lovely.
I can't help but notice it had to be in the confessional. It was not in the workroom talking to the girls, which it feels like in Canada it would have been, but I have other, there's things about that, whatever. It's really lovely. It would have been nice for her to say some of this to Susie, and she very well may have, and it didn't get aired.
Or she may soon. Like, her mom's right there. Like,
right. We might get it next episode. What it does leave me with, though, is, yeah, girl, and you've been a little bit horrible this whole time as a result. And, like, not even because, Susie's clearly fine. Like, I'm not being like, poor Susie, you were mean to her, but more like, it has been unpleasant to watch you do things like, you're such a star and you didn't answer the who should go home question because you just gave it to Susie, rather than, giving us the Lux Noir London Deluxe, which is always the answer that you want to give in that show. You want to give the cuntiest, funniest answer possible, and you wasted yours on Susie. You could have gone into the roast with such poise, and instead you wasted it talking about being too close to Susie. And it got to a point of not being cute. I adore Lexi. She and Anya are the two only girls I follow from the season, so it's not, at the end of the day, it has not made me wave off of liking her, but go for it.
I appreciated that Lexi at least seemed to be aware that she was letting Susie get in her head, as opposed to who actually was acting like Jules was being villainous by supporting herself and not putting the people above herself in the competition. Like, that's not villainy. And Lexi's never called Susie a villain. She's called her annoying. She said she wanted her to go, and she's acknowledged that she let Susie get in her head. But it's really nice to see that, I guess you could call it, story be carried further across the finish line and have her have this realization.
I definitely agree. The only thing is, like, she started so strong, and I think about that Dochi lip sync and just how cool she seemed, and it has been sort of a dipping, sort of peaks and valleys situation where it feels like the valleys were really avoidable. And the valleys were, these insecurities about this other person, which I get that part, but then it's like, man, how much are you going to lean into those and perform to the point that it's unpleasant?
Yeah, it almost feels like, what if we were watching the Wile E. Coyote be so obsessed with the Roadrunner when there were 3 other Roadrunners like sitting nearby going, well, we're so plump and juicy and right here, but oh, look at that one run so fast. You must want to catch him before you come for us. And it's just like, it would feel so much different, because you'd spin there being like, if you're hungry, they're right over there. What are you doing?
During the mini challenge, there even was a question about, I forget what it was, but it was something where the answer is obviously at this point Anya, the current significant front runner, and Lexi still said Susie, the person who at this point it seems like maybe is even behind Lexi in the competition. That's completely subjective, but you could make a case for it. So if her whole thing is like, get out the person that is taking the race and seems to be doing really well, it's Anya Nerve. Get Anya Nerve out of there. And that was the case during that Who Should Go Home, but whatever, that's fine. When we got into that mini challenge and she was still saying it, I was just like, girl,
Yeah.
Now, the pivot I need to make is that one of the places that this episode in particular highlighted the nature of where the show has gone is the show used to be about pulping moments, and now the show is about developing narratives. Something that people kind of forget is there's a huge difference between a TV show and a movie. Every good movie is not a good TV show. And I think I'm being random, and I'm being, being a big Greek dude about it, but like Nia Vardalos is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The movie was a huge success. The TV show was not. It's a slice of life moment that does not necessarily replicate universally week after week. There's a very different attitude in creating something for one-time use and creating something for an extended evolution. I actually don't think that early Drag Race really cared if the girls were the same girl week to week. They were fine resetting the girls as they needed them. It was about production's narrative, not the girls' narrative. But this week, God damn it, it was like they really did have a story editor who sat there with Final Draft and Milanote and built a storyboard and then scripted it properly. And these girls were given a beautiful opportunity. And it was, Susie could not be given an emotional conclusion. So she was given an opportunity to be praised for her fashion because she was already considered an old soul. Being at one with your parent figure is considered an old soul moment. So Susie already had the old soul moments that were built into this episode's narrative. She didn't need that. She got fashion recognition. Anya proved she could make it through the fire. Jules was given an opportunity to bring home the narrative that her family was there for her through her operations and her medical needs. It gave us the opportunity to see Lexi confront her mother about truths that many of us would be very uncomfortable openly talking about. And something that Sam is guilty of by virtue of the nature of television and not Sam as a human. This is my family. These people. This is my fucking family right here. Throw in Rich, get him on here. That's my family. But I would never say that my mom and dad and my sister aren't my family, but they're not this family. Sam has talked so extensively about her drag family. It almost makes it seem like she was one of those girls who isn't close with her family by virtue of the edit, not Sam. And so somebody's going to probably say, no, she mentioned her mama once. Yeah, you know what? I fucking mentioned my mama once too. You can calm down. Yeah. So I feel like the point of this episode was to show us that every single one of these girls got a full Northern exposure treatment. So by the time they were replaced with Valerie Mahaffey, you felt pretty good for Janine Turner. Not enough people watch Northern Exposure. I'm very lonely.
I keep offering.
It's a Hitchcock movie, right?
Oh my God, no, it's the most complicated TV show ever.
No, it's a festival down in Austin. That's North by Northwest down in Austin. Yep.
Yeah, Northwest.
Really
Kanye's daughter.
This woman posing with both of her dogs is so sweet. I love Susie and think she's gorgeous, but the way her hair falls in that photo, she and her beautiful basset hound are definitely doing a who's got the better Dumbo ear.
Yep, that's true.
Oh my God, she's wearing the piece of fabric that Susie was like, it's a shawl. Great. No, that was just a piece of fabric. That was not a shawl.
And while we're on them, holy shit, this was top 10 most uncomfortable things about Drag Race that I've ever experienced. I don't know that I'll ever recover from this one.
Let's take that off your head, dear.
I'm just not sure. Yeah, I mean, I got the vibe immediately, and I said this in the group chat. I got the vibe that there is something significantly notable going on with Susie's mom. And I'm not going to repeat what I said that I thought it was, but it seemed like, it is perhaps a thing in their relation, like an unsaid thing in their relationship. I thought maybe there might be a medical condition involved, and particularly with that, because she said she was worried about her energy, which is totally acceptable and completely understandable. But between the fact that Susie repeatedly says that they are not as close as the other moms, and aside from that, I think it felt like there was something else going on. It was just so incredibly uncomfortable. And I think it's not necessarily our business. I don't need to know what's going on, but it was so unexplained, and so it just felt like there was this looming presence that was kind of ruining Susie's time, like ruining her airtime with her mom. And just to say, Susie explained it really well, and she was so kind, so, engaged and willing to talk about it, about what was there, saying that they're not as close, trying to sort of work through not having the same relationship that everybody else does. But the fact that it just felt like there was something more going on the entire time, I didn't know what to do with her mom. I thought she was kind of bordering on being mean to Susie. That some of the other moms, including the mom that kicked her child out for being trans, were seeming to be more loving and kind to their kids than Susie's mom. There was just so much going on, and it was so uncomfortable to watch. I felt so bad for Susie. And I say it all like this because, again, it's one of those things where I do feel like when you're writing and editing the show, which again for reality TV shows happens before and after, right. I would have done this really differently to spare this person having to have this edit be immortalized on television.
I have to believe that the other shoe is going to drop, that we're going to get a pinch more of this. But I think really what we were reacting to, no matter the reason, is it's been a long time that we've had someone in the US workroom brought in for a makeover who very much does not want to be there.
Yeah.
We've had shades of this is not my favorite thing to do, or yikes, putting on women's clothes. Ugh. But we haven't had someone who very obviously would rather be anywhere but here, and probably got an email from the producers that said, we are going to have to scrap this entire idea if you don't get on a plane. And I think that's what we were feeling.
And then I want to go after you,
Actually, I wanted to kick it to Jonah, because Jonah is the one who taught me about that. There was that
by all means.
There was that unfortunate earlier situation seasons ago.
Season 6, my favorite.
Where someone did not feel so good about being bedraggled. And, it's been a road to get here. Joj, I would love to know how you're feeling on this episode. Whether it's the ladies or their mamas, hit me with some cold hard truth.
Well, I want to note, I think Susie's mom was just a human being. I think this was somebody, as Susie said, has no yearning to be in the spotlight, no yearning to be on stage. I think she was just a little stage fright, and they're maybe even just a little timid when there's 7 cameras around you, 50 other people in the room, and you're asked to make television. I think that she's just a real human on camera. I imagine that's how many of us would act on camera for the first time. Yes. And I do think there might have been more, there might have been less. I do just think that was a human being on camera. And it was in contrast compared to 3 people who have amazing relationships with their parents or guardians or figures there, between Anya, Sam, and Jules, who's Jules' dad, who walked in saying, "Hey, Queens!" Like that. She's gonna be on season 18. Like, we're gonna see her next year.
Yep.
But Susie's and you had Lexi and her mom, who were kind of using this moment to reconnect and bond. This was Lexi's first time hearing her mom use the proper pronouns for her. There was a lot of using that opportunity to even just like make up for lost time. But Susie and her mom didn't seem that close. And I think it was just that juxtaposition of, we're seeing so much extroverted love, and where we have someone who comes across as an introvert, it almost feels a little jarring how different everybody else is reacting. And you have Susie and her mom, and they're not as close, and her mom's not as boisterous on camera. So I feel like that's where maybe that disconnect comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because, KEVO, by all means, hit me.
It's one of the reasons that I really struggle with this challenge as a whole, but especially coming this late in the season, I was really surprised by. And, it's one of those Black Swan effect things where after the fact, obviously nobody was going to go home for an emotional episode like that. But we're at 5 queens. We really, really, really should be past nobody goes home at this point. But it is kind of an obligation to a degree because, like Tori pointed out, there are people who, for whatever reason, frequently just are uncomfortable when they have to do this challenge. And then your game is affected by that. But especially in a challenge like this, if you're just making over frumpy librarians, you can just steamroll right over that girl. You're not going to care. But when it's your mom, Susie was really ready to tank her chances for her mom, and that is a very human and family thing, but that's really not fair to be doing to your competitors psychologically at this stage, and then have it be nothing. I can see why they played it out the way that they did, because when we watched the Untucked and having one of the girls be like, "Oh, well, this is what happened and nobody went home," so they had to psych you out. Like, it was just a weird way to play the game.
I love that you brought that up, because something that I'm not here to pass judgment on is whether you're a Schumacher or a Burton or a Nolan or I forget that other one. You are a person with a Batman. Who's the one I like that TK thinks I'm trash for liking?
No, Reeves.
Reeves, thank you. So your Batman is what you love, and my Batman personally would never take the fall, because my Batman would never let somebody believe that heroes lie to hurt themselves. Like, that's not my Batman. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not here to shit on everybody who loves the Nolan era. I'm not here to give you a hard time. I mean, no, I'm here to shit on those movies. But if they brought you joy, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those Bono's dad died right before 9/11, and now we're all fucking stuck with a moment. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff.
That's why we have 50 Shades of Grey.
Exactly. Harry Potter.
And it's the Muppets' fault.
I better say Harry Potter is just because somebody didn't get to be the queen. Sorry about it. But you know,
Jake Rowling got sick on a train.
The whole thing I'm feeling here is like, if Susie chose to literally tank her season to stand by her mom, first of all, let me tell you, my mother would literally tell me, I don't care if you're dressing me up as Mouse and Sean's, we're gonna do it. And if you have to literally fucking drag my dumb face through the mud, drag my dumb bitch face.
Yeah, your mom is Sam's mom.
Yeah, my mom would be like, no. And I would do the same to you. I love you. Like, you know, like, it's about taking care of our family. It's not about an instant moment of pride. It's about taking care of the people you love in the right way for your long-term success. But that doesn't make my family right. I really think this showed something beautiful. And, you know, Jonah, thank you for bringing up the way it played out in such an important way.
I also think it's about having fun with your kid. You know, your kid is their job is something that is supposed to be fun and joyful. And you know, there's of course a lot that is serious about it, and there are ways in which you can attack it that are very serious. And Sam being a pageant queen, there's a lot of like, gotta get this right, gotta look my best. But a lot of the job is quite literally dancing and hyping people up at bars and singing songs and being musical and being funny. And this is an opportunity to do that, and to, I mean, you know, it's Drag Race, so this is the gray area of like, I think if you have fun and present something that has that irreverence and joy, you can really charm the judges. But of course, they might get at you for, you know, not having family resemblance. I was very, I put it in quotes too. I was actually very pleased insofar as this was a round of that critique where I agreed with Michelle every time. And I also thought she was pretty, she kept saying the same thing, which was like, family resemblance, not 100% to me. Something that was a lot more like, not quite, as opposed to sometimes it'll be like, I don't see it at all. And it's just, it strikes me as like borderline rude, because the girls are like, they're not dumb. Like, you know, there are times where she's saying it and I'm like, it may not be perfect, they might not be winning for it, but there's not none. What are you talking about? And so I was happy that all of the people that got the critique got a very softened version of it, and for the most part I felt that was earned. But that was, you know, again, it was another place where I was a little sad for Susie, up until actually right until they got on the runway, because it seemed like they were not having any fun. And it seemed like Susie was working really hard and connecting with her mom and having a moment, and all of that I really loved, and everything Susie brought to. I don't want any of this to ever sound like I'm saying Susie didn't do amazing, and I hope she was happy, and I did see something really beautiful and poignant. But as she pointed out, she was not having the same experience that everybody else was. And up until they got down the runway, I saw no fun for them, and it made me sad. And then I saw something that was like a little, like, her mom came out of her shell just a little bit there. And I mean, Susie's so talented with outfit making and conceptual on theme drag for who she is, that it presented something really, really good. Which brings me to my last point. I thought she should have won, man, by a lot. And I was bummed that she did not. Also, sometimes I just give people the sympathy vote, and I felt like RuPaul should have been like, I am sorry. RuPaul was in that workroom. RuPaul saw the moms and saw Susie's mom, and I would have been like, you know what? This probably is not going to change the outcome of who gets the crown at the end of the month. I'm sorry, girl. You win.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jonah.
Jonah.
I just want to make a point that Susie's entire drag name and character is literally based off of her mother. Like,
Yeah.
Susanimus Toot is her mother's name.
It was a shock to learn the information, and then it
Yes.
continued to be a shock as we got to know the woman.
Yes.
But I think like part of it is that we see so much of the overly supportive parent, the parent that's like there at every drag show, or the one who helped you into your heels the first time. We see the parents who threw their kids out. They didn't care. They're very distant. They don't get it. They want no part of it. They don't even know that you're doing it. We don't really get the parent who's like, oh yeah, I love my kid, and I love all my kids. One's a scientist. I have no idea what they do. One's a teacher. I'm pretty sure for 3rd grade. And one's a drag queen. Sure. And like, it's just that is my child's job, and I see them on Thanksgiving. Like that is another level of parenting. And I don't think we see a lot of that. And I think it was nice to kind of see that shown here, even if it wasn't probably the best experience for Susie, or that interesting in a TV way to watch. But again, real people with real things.
To that, Susie's mom said, "Oh, I saw every performance when it was theater."
Yes.
Oh, you person.
Oh.
You know,
Oh.
it's funny because like
That.
my parents would come to my every fucking performance. My parents would be my biggest groupies. You've never met more supportive parents in your life. Except maybe Jonah's mom, who gets tattoos. But that was because I love Jonah's mom. She's the best. So
She would've got whatever show.
right. But so the thing where I find myself like, I don't know, I find myself a little surprised at part of what this reveals about the state of the American family, kind of sort of maybe a little bit. And it also asks me to consider what would happen for the girls that go home first. The girls that go home first, their family gets called too, because this shit is set up in advance.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna have a girl here and have them say, God, nobody likes you, so Michelle's gonna step in.
Editor.
Yeah, like there has to be a certain amount of like, it seems like this time they really went for like, this is your parent. Normally, if they're gonna pull from someone in your world, it's like your favorite person or your most supportive, or like a general thing.
Partner.
This was very specific, and it does make me wonder, like, what happens. Does production take that into account, or if there's like one or two that like don't have that, the production kind of just goes, well, we'll see what happens.
When we got to a top
part of
5,
it is-
if there were parents available, were they able to grab parents? Jojo.
They can't always predict who goes home, even though they'll have a say in who does, but like for medical reasons. On season 14, Cornbread went home very early, and a lot of us all thought that Cornbread was going to make it to the finale. So if they did a makeover challenge and they called someone for Cornbread back home, and they wanted her there, well, they can't control that. They can't ignore a doctor's orders. I mean, they can, but yes, I feel like this was in a beautiful way, a very deliberate episode to showcase family, to showcase support, and I think now more than ever, I think this kind of a beautiful episode was like really important, especially seeing we saw, I think, because we just saw so many ways of what a queer supporting and loving family looks like, and one of the ones that I think is even greatly important is this seeing the dynamic between Lexi and her mom.
Ooh,
and
Lexi's gonna love that you did that.
Lexi, that this was a lot of a mom coming onto this experience wanting to be better, wanting to do better, and I think we see this human really just want to be there for her child and try to say, I know I haven't been the best, but I am here to try. I'm here to do what I can. And I think that's important to the lesson to learn, that, we're not going to be bad actors when I make this statement, but there are people who can have their minds changed. There are people who can learn, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and sometimes that's unfortunate, and that doesn't negate any hurt. But sometimes it does take people a little bit longer to find those steps, to find their way and their path to being the supportive person that they want to be, or you want them to be.
I'm also really curious. I imagine they do get like, hey, if we were to do a makeover challenge, list 3 people from your family that you would want us to ask.
Yeah.
Or
like throwing some red herrings where you're like, oh, tell us who your drag mom is. Tell us who your boyfriend is. Like, give us like top 10 people in your life.
We've never had one of these where the person is like, oh, fuck, I didn't want this person to show up. Like, I'm not happy to see this person.
They've never once called Coco for Alyssa.
Exactly.
It's never been the nightmare.
Yeah, no, it's never been. Yeah, it's.
And you also have to wonder if, like, the seasons, especially now that we've basically moved into this realm of we want to do makeovers of people that they know because it reveals more about the queen to us. Yeah. It makes me think of like that it's possible that at any point in the future, if something doesn't work out for their theme, they can just be like, all right, grab 6 firemen again. Like,
yeah. Like they can always get, they can get completely random people, but when it's somebody they know, you know, it's never a surprise. It's, I'm thinking to the 30 Rock, Jenna, meet your half sister Courtney. Like it's never a horrifying surprise. And
oh so my God, if only.
Lexi, I was a little bit. It was so funny when she said, "It's my mom. It's my biological mom." My first thought was like, "It's not her biological mom. It is like the trans woman who became her mom," because she had said to us, "My mom kicked me out."
Yeah.
I would not have imagined that she would have.
That full season narrative that comes conclusive in this episode.
Kablamo. That she would be happy to see that. Well, that they would have worked it out. So it was really
that it would be such a thing where she almost felt like she was flinging herself into her mother's arms.
And she really was
very exuberant if you aren't into it.
Yeah, 100%. And it was great. It was a really beautiful character arc, but it's kind of like the opposite of the thing with Susie, where like they worked out the elephant in the room, which is that her mom did something really terrible years ago. They worked it out enough that I believe that Lexi knew that this woman could come on and was in no way unhappy about that. And then they worked through that next stage where it's like they've moved beyond tolerance and talking again, and her mom is using the right pronouns, and she's so proud of her mom, and her mom is so proud of her. And so, fully realized narrative, as Nico pointed out, and not uncomfortable, even though it's sad and could be uncomfortable, reuniting with a woman who kicked you out of the house. Like that could have gone in an ugly way. Didn't. So it goes back to my point that, like, by contrast, for me, it felt like there's an elephant in the room with Susie's mom that did not go addressed between Susie and her mom prior to this, and did not get addressed on the show. And so I kept being like, and I like Jonah's interpretation because it makes me feel like Susie's fine. Like my biggest worry is that like there's something serious going on that makes me sad for Susie. And in a perfect world, I would be happy to hear that, like, no, her mom's just a little bit of a weirdo and was just a little bit uncomfortable.
It also, I now understand why Susie just doesn't even get bothered by all of the aggression in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that is the face of someone whose mother has said 10 times.
Exactly. That is a Lucille Bluth mom.
When you were a shitty teenager and then you made up or whatever. Like, I'm not casting current aspersions, but as someone who can very much say, "Oh, you can't hurt me more than my mother already has," it's one of those.
It's so funny that you say that, because part of where I'm coming from as a member of this fan community is I'm coming from a place where my queerness was never a problem in my home. My queerness was never a thing that my family couldn't deal with. My family couldn't deal with the fact that I threw fits, and my family couldn't deal with the fact that I snuck out. But like they could deal with my gayness. Like, that's you're a faggot, you're fine. Like, that wasn't a problem. Like, so for me, Susie's mom represents an identity so opposing my own father, where like my dad was like, yeah, I mean, obviously you're gay, obviously, who cares? But I'm so glad we share theater. I'm very happy for the things we don't share. I continue to love sports, and if you don't, it's fine. And then when I got super into weightlifting, my father was like, that's not a sport I really care about. So like it continued to be fine. And there was never a sense of my father was like, oh, I wouldn't come to that for you. The thing I was saying earlier is I kind of have to be like, guys, I don't want you coming to anything where I make jokes about my penis. Please don't come. That's a joke about my penis.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there is a sense that the show is looking to explore identities beyond my own. And I think the thing I want to say is that early Drag Race focused on, the personal experience for the queer person is terrible. And then we hit a point where it was like, it doesn't get better. It is better.
We got marriage 7 years in.
Yup. And we've looped back around to postmodern family, where we are reminding people that for every J who learns his lesson, there's a J who doubles down and votes MAGA. And like, it is such a complicated relationship. I certainly don't necessarily think that Susie's mom voted red, but you know, the idea that we are, and okay, and I'm going to shut myself up because, you know,
This
there's
episode
always
is libelous.
yeah, there's just always like fried chicken falling out of my
Go
mouth.
get
But
sued.
the thing that I
No,
do
we've all
wanna
said things.
cut to, you guys are keeping talking about it when I'm desperate. The thing that I'm really glad that neither came up, nor seems to be what we are driving toward. Who gives a shit that this seasons 1 through 8 conclusion happened? I'm sorry, anybody who's like, this is too late in the season to not send anybody home. You know what? I'm sorry. Are you watching a TV show, or are you dealing with the realities of the world? This isn't somebody having a bad day and going crazy in a supermarket. This is a reality show where they control the beginning and the end and the casting. If this wasn't fulfilling, I would call it life. It is fulfilling, so I want to be happy. Keep both girls, because both of them are phenomenal. And if you're such a sad little piss baby that you are the living embodiment of a urinal cake and you just cannot get past wanting to see other people feel pissed on too, I'm sorry. But these beautiful women deserve to go one more week.
It's
and I will gladly take your message and listen to it then, Tim.
Hello, I'm the sad little piss baby.
I'm also a sad little piss baby. I think he forgot. So
Yeah.
I forgot nothing. I'm
No, we're all
people who
sad
love
piss
joy.
people.
Hey.
Yay!
I never said that I don't love joy, but my problem with doing it here is that it actually caused me anxiety for nothing, and I really didn't appreciate the fact that I was dreading this for a week, thinking someone's going to have to go home from the top 5 because of a family challenge, especially with everything that was going on with the Tootses. I was like, Susie is actually going to fall on a sword and lose top 4 for her mom, and I don't want to watch that, and it stresses me out. That's why it bothered me. Just doing a double save, no, of course, that makes sense. And I think it is always smart to do a double save on every makeover, not just family, but especially family, because you don't want to insult these people's family. These girls are stuck under contract for life now. So you have to deal with them and their families forever. Rue's going to see Mrs. Toot. Rue's going to see Mrs. Toot at a meet and greet. So, like, you don't want to insult these parents.
She's going to give her flash drive to go on the show.
Yes, but
No,
so I'm
that's
with you
Salchicha.
on don't send a new one home. But I didn't appreciate the framing and structure where I was in anxiety for a week and then extra for a full hour because I thought someone was going home. Because we've seen people go home on this.
I should have clarified that my Monet joke real quick was going to be that like Monet would ever put up with being under a ring light for the rest of her goddamn beautiful life if there wasn't a contract that was the sort of Damocles hanging over her beautiful chest plate.
KEVO, you are an absolute sweetie. I love where you're coming from. I wish I was coming from that kind of
No, and
place.
have your vinegar bowl, by all means.
I just think somebody goes home every week and we gotta keep the shit going, and Jules is ranking low, and Jules was looking like it was her time to go. Don't get me wrong. I don't
Well,
care.
No, hold on.
There's something to be said about the
ice
lip
flavors
sync.
deserve to stay.
No, they
Yeah.
absolutely did not. Because my thing is,
can you pull up a picture of Jules with her father?
yeah, please do. I think this is great. I'm
Jonah
not
makes
happy.
the screen cap, so Jonah gets to say, pull
This
up the
is
thing I
Nana and
know I
Popo. And then
Can you
she
pull up
bought
crap
Pikmin.
number?
These
Uh,
are the
what
ice
is-
flavors.
Yeah, and you're right. They did, and she does absolutely turn into Pikmin with that high pony.
That's ice flavors.
I mean, I love this look. I think it's really good. I do think they were the worst. This would have been Jules's week to go home for me. I'm super happy that she's there. And the fact of the matter is, we've done a season where the finale had five. I think we've done 2 actually.
Huh.
So like, I don't.
It's called Spice
It
World.
was just the one. Yeah. So I don't care at this point. We can get to the end any number of different ways. I don't actually mind that somebody didn't go home. But
Gave KEVO a break from updating this graphic, let me tell
yeah,
you.
exactly. Gosh.
I
I sort of Jonah and I had a difference of opinion on who won the lip sync.
I want to learn more because I weighed in with Jonah too.
And I really felt, and then NICO said the funniest thing describing Anya's.
Let's reenact everything from the beginning so the audience isn't left behind.
NICO, do you remember what you said about Anya's performance?
I believe I said that she did movements that were like, I'm a little teapot, look how cute I am. Boop,
And
boop.
that I almost had to pull back and be like, maybe I was wrong. But yes, that is 100% the vibe. That is absolutely what the movements were. For me, we've gotten to a point where stunts and being really good at moves has now gotten to be unimpressive to me a little bit. I feel so bad saying it, but like, the way Jules fell into those splits a couple times, so perfect. I've also seen it so many times. I know exactly where it's going to come on with the girls that do it. And I also think about like, because of space constraints, depending on where you are, like there's a really great Drag Race viewing party in my town now at a breakfast bar. So you walk in, there's barely 4 tables and then an enormous horseshoe bar. And they do a Drag Race viewing party where a drag queen performs. She does not have anywhere to move. So there will not be splits happening. Anyway, the point of it being like, sometimes seeing a queen work with a different kind of vibe to do a lip sync and to hype up a crowd, and Anya's energy, Anya who clearly does not do moves, Anya who has no splits in her repertoire, does not death drop, cannot backflip, that she was coming with like a hot skip and doing like, she was just like banging it for the drums. For me, sometimes I'm like, I want to see that, because those are a lot of the queens you're going to get if you are not in New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, at spaces that are designed specifically for. Yeah, you're gonna get some hot teapot drag.
I'm a little teapot. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
And it didn't help that she's very, it's very lolly
she takes it
coated with
out.
those pigtails. But she was so high energy, and it really did feel like the best performance of a girl, in a bar in a city like Portland, Maine, in a
like Sayreville.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You guys there's a lot of places in Jersey that are great. I mean, like Crystal Envy is from Jersey, and yeah, I mean, but like, no, fuck you. I live in the
because we have the
nowhere.
population density to support
exactly.
it.
Of course
Leave
you do,
them
exactly.
alone.
Then one
but
other.
you're-
Relax on her.
You're right. Like, yeah, like there's a few of us. Carmen Carrera came through too, but like at the same time, I think one of the things about Anya that I think we haven't seen before, we've seen it a little more now that we have a Lollapalooza going around, but we don't normally. There will be times where we don't see a winner lip sync until the end, And now that the end is such a big finale, you can pull out a trick and it's fine.
You have,
Whereas,
if you know you're going to win, or if you know you're going to be in the top, you go home and you consult
something.
Yeah. If you're smart, you consult with a choreographer. You can, and you get your song months in advance. So like,
right. And then, but the other side of it is, this is probably, and I'm saying this as an enormous stan and a big fan of Anya's, this is what Bianca Del Rio would have looked like doing Vibology. And I think that we just all have to recognize that sometimes the lip syncing is not what you're best at. And that's okay. As long as you're good at everything else and you don't land in the bottom, and then otherwise you got a problem, or you go up against a twink in a glittery bra and you just kind of figure it out.
Do what you gotta do.
Twinks and glittery bras. I'm sorry. I just want to say for 1 second, I don't think that Sam Star should have won with Ariel's clamshell tits. The ruching, the unnatural bunching. Susie should have won. Or Lexi should have won. And you know, here's why Lexi should have won, actually. Because Lexi is a share. Lexi is about unique statements outside of the cultural acceptance and the norm. Lexi is about beautiful ideas that really, Lexi is... I don't want Lexi to win because I want her to go on to be a goddess. And you can't win. That was everything to me. And you can't win if you are a... You can't win life if you are a Drag Race winner unless you're Jinx Monsoon, who literally might as well be a different person. The weird fucking portrait sitting out there of Jinx Monsoon looking like shit is, anyway, Dorian Gray up in this world. But
He does wonders.
I really felt like one of the things that this episode brought to my attention, and you guys got to know that I'm going to bring it up, and I can't believe that I held off this long.
Lasted this long.
Why?
My single favorite TV show of all time, next to Golden Girls, is Project Runway. And it is quite literally like so much of my personality is imitating Kara-san. I don't know who I would be if I wasn't just being Kara-san some days. Like, I lie about how much my shoes cost constantly. And so I think about the strength I get from Kelly from the deli. I think about the way Project Runway taught me to be a proud queer person, the way Top Chef taught me to be proud about hating people and wanting to kill them to get ahead. And I found out that the greatest panel of all time is going to have people back. So Heidi Klum will again be host. I literally, look, that was the right move. Carly is amazing. Right move. Christian is the correct mentor because he is quite literally dollar for dollar next to Calvin Klein, I believe the most successful American fashion entrepreneur of all time. Nina Garcia, I'm gonna have a hard time talking about this. Nina Garcia is like the most perfect judge in the history of reality competition, next to America when it comes to Big Brother, and that's a joke because you're always wrong. But the announcement was judge number 3, because it's Heidi is judge, Nina is judge, Christian is mentor, Law Roach. I mean, this was the right move for a trillion reasons. Thank you so much for putting another person of color on this bench. That does actually mean that there are no American people not of color on this bench. So it is 2 people who immigrated here and a person of color. And then Christian as mentor, which is of course welcome. But what I think is so beautiful is Europe, America, then of course South America for Nina Garcia. But Law Roach doesn't represent just America by being an American. He represents the show's lack of a person of dark skin color to ever be represented, to ever be given a microphone, to ever be given respect, love, trust, and opportunity. And like, thank you for fixing this. Thank you for righting this wrong. And thank you for picking somebody who I've said a million times is sometimes the hardest judge on the show, but is never wrong, is never wrong-headed about anything. I'm just so proud of my favorite show ever. It's really quite a cool day to be me.
I want to throw 2 things out there. One, I think it's super cool that La Roche is a stylist.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I didn't want to introduce it for you. You brought it up. So cool.
Yeah. Because they are 2 different things. They are 2 very different perspectives for looking at garments. It is often possible to get lost in the sauce of knowing how garments are constructed and being impressed by that, or not being impressed, being way too unimpressed because you know that it was done in a way that you think is poor. But a stylist doesn't care if they can make it into the event and out of the event in one piece, and you're not going to clock the weird way it was constructed. The stylist doesn't care. This is, how are we going to make my client look good? And this is somebody who knows how to dive into fashion archives and into new collections and evaluate them in a way that is really, would I buy this? Would I send this to the Met Gala? Would I put Zendaya in this? Would I put Kalani in this? And so that's really exciting. The other thing is slight disagreement with you, NICO. He is amazing, a credible critiquer. Like he's going to give them amazing judgment and critique. He is wrong sometimes. He has been called out by people like Keke Palmer on Legendary, and he's actually really funny and fun about it. Like my point being that he is somebody that can engage in active critique, where he can say something and somebody else can come in and go like, here's some perspective on why you might be totally wrong. And his response will be like, oh, okay. And that's so much cooler than a guy who is never wrong. Like somebody who, for whatever reason, including maybe just actually being really good at their job, gives critiques that some would find unimpeachable to the point that they might not be brave enough to clap back. And somebody who on the flip side of things is so unkind and inaccessible that nobody wants to incur their wrath. He is somebody who I think can engage in a really interesting dialogue with other judges and creatives and people that are going to be there, and bring a lot of not just engagement but fun and humor. He is cunty as fuck, and he is going to say something really mean and extremely funny, and I'm excited for that. But I also think, he's not going to steer people wrong.
It's so important to talk about he's not going to steer people wrong, because one of the things that I don't think any judge ever does is purposely give people the wrong direction. But like, I would like to talk about a woman who is evil upon this earth. Of course, the truly demonic Katy Perry, and
future piece of space debris, Katy Perry.
Future piece of space
Oh
debris.
my god!
I've never seen somebody actually lay down to be roasted by the fake Shriners, but like, go into space, girl. Go be SpaceX debris.
Go Space Girl.
Go Space Girl. I'm kidding. She wrote Teenage Dream, so she's very talented.
Bonnie McKee and Benny Blanco wrote Teenage Dream, but she was definitely in LA at the time.
I am so glad that was not the track listing of that album. So anyway, the main thing I want to say about that is, when you're talking about somebody like Katy Perry actually holds an unbelievable number of American music records. And if you don't appreciate that, that's fine. You don't have to, but you can't argue with the numbers. She is actually an all-time record holder across multiple categories, multiple genres. And she is one of the most successful people of her generation, bar none. And so feel however you want, but I probably would not take her advice in 2025. I love her successes, and I champion the value of what she contributed to music, history, and pop culture. But in 2025, I don't think I would take Olivia Rodrigo's advice. She's 2022's news. So, like, when you're talking about a judge on a show like this, it's when they get somebody who you don't hear about for another year after they're on the show. That's kind of like the guest judge that I noticed. So I'm really grateful that you pointed out no one's ever going to give bad advice on purpose. But yeah, like somebody like a Michael Kors, he is so vital and so important to American fashion because otherwise who would people sue?
I mean, but you know, the fascinating thing about designers is so many of them, like, in a way that is different than music. Designers are timeless. Designers seek to be timeless in a way that, because what they produce is physical objects, timelessness is we have a very different relationship with fashion designer timelessness. Music, Madonna is a timeless artist. But also Madonna's current music is terrible, and I wouldn't want her as a judge on anything. But Madonna also wrote Human Nature. Madonna wrote, Bedtime Stories and Ray of Light. Did not write those. Other people wrote them, but she performed
No, but
them.
I mean, I just watched a special about how Bedtime Story is like literally a $500,000 music video. So I spent the day listening to Bedtime Stories.
Yeah.
You are always my favorite person.
You know who wrote Bedtime Stories, right?
I have a wheel made of butter.
Yes, that's how she wrote the song, on the butter wheel. You're correct. You nailed it.
Bjork Mama, I can't. Her last name is epic.
Guzman's daughter. Don't start with me. But yeah, I mean, so La Roche is kind of on the level of like a Madonna, somebody who is timeless in the industry and has been around for so long. And it's really fascinating to see become a part of this after all this time. And I think, when you look at somebody like Katy Perry, who actually kind of like time-wise was coming up around the same time, was like getting popular around the same time for music that La Roche was getting popular for being a stylist, but one of them stayed really consistent and like consistently getting better and consistently putting people in phenomenal looks, and one of them is going to space, and we'll see if she comes back or not. It's interesting to see what we do with these celebrities and how we use them in various things.
I mean, I can only hope that La Roche will bring to Project Runway the vibes that he's been bringing to Drag Race, which is hitting on the handsomest fathers on the runway. Because truly, I mean...
I literally, the second he appeared, I turned to KEVO and said, "That is a beautiful man." And
a beautiful man.
Message.
Did you imagine you'd be fighting with La Roche for his number?
No, but like anybody who understands my taste in men understands that this is like, I mean, this man is like an 11 out of 10. Like La Roche played it safe. I would have been arrested.
I love that he was like, "This is my husband and my stepdaughter."
I genuinely
is it
think
okay that he's here?
You are talking about a beautiful man and a beautiful son. The last man with a beard that beautiful and a son that handsome was me. So
honestly, and you can just it's so interesting watching them put mothers and parents into them, because you can see where, like, for those who haven't done too much to their features, you can see where those features came from. And I think there was a point where, like, even with the beard on, where you're just like, oh, those are Anya's cheekbones. There's Anya's, like, there's a certain twinkle in Anya's eye that I can see in her father.
The warmth of Anya's voice, like,
Mhm.
people don't understand that timbre is a thing. I have my father's vocal inflection. I have my mother's timbre. I have that wide warmth of my mother's voice. You will never, guys, I'm so sorry, but I'm about to like fag off the charts for a second. But like, you will never mistake Judy for Liza. But I swear to God, if you don't hear exactly the same, then you're not listening properly. And like, I don't know how to help you.
You
Like,
can hear
guys,
Sissy and Whitney, like it's all of that.
Shut the fuck up. I have
You're
not
welcome.
had a good conversation about Sissy and Whitney in a hot minute. You know what people don't ever appreciate? And the only person on this panel who's gonna like go nuts with me, although several people will appreciate it. Tosh's "ha" is exactly the same as Tori's lower "ha, ha, hey, let's go." It's like literally Tosh Hawley and Tori Amos have the same lower register. It's their upper registers that are totally different. And that has to do with timbre and warmth and like the way, and I'm doing this, but it's like, you know, when you eat something really sour that hits all in here, that's the where your soul voice comes from, like in sound. Like your throat voice is that deep thing inside of you where you can hear Tim in Jeff. Like that is a Buckley reference for those of you who don't understand. My 1994 is always right about Rolling Stone things. Anyway, I love this episode. I love this episode the way the way I love Raven, the way I love Raja, the way I love old Drag Race. Like, this episode felt classic and beautiful. These girls are so selfless and fearless in their love of one another. And that is not to say that Saphira didn't love Nymphia with the depths of her soul. But every girl in season 16 was so excited that they were going to be the superstars that came out of season 16. But I feel like the girls in season 17 feel like the superstars of season 17. And the last time I felt that a group of girls felt defined by the excellence of each other was 10. And like, this for me is the greatest families of Drag Race. This is just absolutely an incredible showing of unique synergy.
A lot of these girls seem to be very aware of the aftermath of this, of how many of them they will want to or will be working with, whether they want to or not. Ties. It was great to see Sam have a vulnerable moment, saying she didn't feel like she had friends. Those competitive bitches, that's a lot of them feel that way. And that's, you find a kinship in that, I'm sure. That's exactly why she felt a kinship with Lexi, I'm sure. I didn't really feel like that was coming across on screen, but like now I get it. And it really feels like there are so many connections and so many ties this season. And it really is lovely to see. So I'm excited to see them and what they can all do in the future.
For sure. It's so interesting because I feel like we spent a lot of time. There were just so many girls for so long in this season that I feel like we sort of got used to this idea that yeah, they're all good, but they're all going to drift away. And I feel like the girls have been very surprising this year. They have surprised a lot of us in what they have, all of them, what they have brought, what they have shown us, going from Meet the Queens back to this. I think we should have a whole half episode where we talk about our, go back to our reactions for Meet the Queens. But like, I think that there's something so deeply surprising and exciting about these queens that I think we weren't ready for. And I think that that's what's making it kind of exciting again. That there's not as much fatigue, considering we are 14 episodes in, 13, something like that.
13, I think. Yeah.
It has been fascinating to hear the repeated refrains, and particularly every time I say it, my eyes somehow get directed to her because she's the one who kept saying it, of Lana talking about like, can we like keep the sisterhood going? Like, can we not fight? Can we work this out? The fact that this has been our first on stage like long-term relationship budding type of thing, and even like Lexi realizing that she's Susie Toot from another universe. There's a fascinating interconnectedness between these characters that, yeah, I mean, like every season, ultimately, past a certain point, a lot of the girls or all the girls say, like, this is my sister, like, this is my season, whatever sister, we're all really close. We've gotten so close. We have the group chat, blah, blah, blah. But this group seems especially into it. And it's, you know, it's seeing things like Susie and Anya being the two front runners, or like, you know, again, Susie really wasn't, but, you know, had that confidence and everybody else was scared of her. So she and Anya just hung out. And again, like, Anya doesn't really seem to think Susie's drag is that great. It's certainly not for Anya, but Anya also recognizes a professional thing, which is like, doesn't matter if I like it. I'm not pressed about Susie doing well. I'm only worried about myself. And the only thing I know that any of us should care about or get spooked about is whether the judges like us personally, not whether they like somebody else. So she and Susie like have this friendship that isn't based on the same things that everybody else's friendship is based on. There's just so many fascinating little interplays going on. And, you know, it is really cool. And it does feel different than other seasons.
Jonah, you are the person who brought me to Drag Race and changed my life. And I would love to know how you're feeling. You know, you came in at 8.
What 7?
Oh.
You've been watching since you were 7? That tracks. You're so young.
Right around there. So I 7, 8. So
Could be 12.
how are you feeling about this season and how it relates to everything overall?
One, I want to give a big shout out to all of the girls. I think everybody did a really good job. I think this was a case of people just doing better than others. Nobody looked so horrendous where I was like, oh, I feel bad for that person. No, everybody looked good. I feel like everybody had a great time. I love seeing everybody connect. Anya truly is that girl, because the way she sprinted to go hug Jules, the way she shouted out the dads in the back, again, not to be parasocial about things, but like Anya really is that person. And I'm hoping it's not a Saphira moment where we're all leading up and thinking she's going to win, and then we get somebody else who I equally love, but we all thought Saphira was going to win.
No, I'm feeling double win here. I'm with you. I want it to be Anya and Susie. They are one winner to me.
But because if someone was going to go home, I thought they maybe were going to send home Jules. And because the Jules had a great lip sync and it was a feel-good episode and they saved her, now I don't know who's going home. I genuinely still do not know who's going to be leading this top 5, if any people at all.
What's the challenge next week? Did we catch what it's going to be?
Yes, so it's going to be like season 12's. It's going to be Drag Race Live. So I think...
Drag Race Live audition.
Yeah, so I think everyone's going to be doing a personalized number. It looks like also a photo shoot.
Well, and can I just be like, I don't vacation much. You know, people are like, I've been to the Parthenon and I've seen the Mona Lisa. And I'm like, I listen to You and the Mona Lisa by Sean Colvin. You can fuck yourself. And I don't go places. You know where I go? Theme parks. You know what's the biggest theme park? Vegas. I get to see my favorite lady, Lydia, and I get to go to Drag Race Live. I have now seen Drag Race Live. Jonah, you've seen it 5 times, so I've seen it 4 times?
No, I've seen it 4 times. You've seen it 3 times.
Thank you. Guys, I can't even begin to talk to you. Like, so it's so fucking weird to talk about. Asia is, it's so weird. I think Asia is like perhaps the greatest performer to ever be on TV. And like, this was something that was like, as we watched her season, I couldn't stop talking about. And everybody was like, evidently secretly talking about, well, you know what happens with the mariposas. And like, I had no idea. I had no idea. And so
I didn't either.
I literally thought to myself, everybody just sort of accepts that Asia's going to take over the franchise, right? Like, I literally couldn't see a future that was not Asia was literally going to replace RuPaul, because she is literally just, I mean, it's her and Saphira. There's nobody else. And for me personally. And so getting to tell her that and her being like, baby, I'm a performer. Thank you. You just made my night. I love you. And I was like, and she was just like, no, honey, thank you. I don't understand yet. I'm crying.
Oh.
And I was like, thank you, I'm gonna cry. And like, she was everything you want her to be. One of the things that Drag Race Live is so much more than is it is so much more than just going to a show. They immediately go out into the audience. They immediately engage with you. So whether or not you've gotten meet and greet package, the performers walk past you. They touch you. They talk to you. There is a moment of understanding that this is a shared experience. You know, the best concert I've ever seen is meeting Tori Amos. Number 2 and number 3 are seeing Janet Jackson in 2 different places. I saw Janet Jackson on a national tour, and I saw her on a Vegas residency. Vegas residencies are defined by their intimacy. You want to go see an intimate show? It's this. And guys, what does Drag Race intimacy mean to you? I just waxed poetic about, I mean, I'm Walt Whitman just jerking off in some leaves of grass. Like, what does this mean to you to think about Drag Race intimacy? Because for me, it's Asia putting her fucking beautiful face on my shoulder. Down the line, TK, you're so handsome. You have to go first. It'd be frustrating if you didn't.
You know, it is really a tough one because drag is weirdly often these days about becoming like kind of a professional celebrity. And yet at the same time, a lot of us come to drag through, you know, like I said, your local bar where like the queen is literally dancing like right in front of you at the breakfast bar. And like, you know, it's not Madonna blocked by a barricade with security officers and a stage and like you're never getting anywhere near there. And for as much as like you know, drag is the only thing where now I will still pay for meet and greets because like it's, you know, the money isn't the same for even a drag tour, even for the Drag Race girls, as it is for, you know, like one of my favorite bands that does meet and greets is Coheed and Cambria. I love them a lot, but I just would never pay for the meet and greet. I would go for the music. I love the music. And, you know, they do huge tours. They do what's that?
Me and Kesha.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was about to say they do cruises. So yeah, but I just ultimately, even despite all that, even though I love Claudio Sanchez and I would love to meet and talk to him, I just wouldn't pay. I don't know. It would be weird. But with drag queens, I will do it because, especially on the big tours, you don't necessarily get a chance to tip them. And you know, on like Work the World or something, there's so many girls there. The margins are thinner than you think. Paying for the meet and greet is actually a really good way to make sure that the queens that you love get a little bit more money. And drag intimacy for me is the fact that like you really can talk to your favorite queens a lot of different ways, in a way that you can't with a lot of other celebrities. And I think that's really cool. I think, you know, the danger of the intimacy is that you have to still be really careful and not let it become a parasocial thing, because again, this is a character, this is an act, it's a person that is putting on makeup and clothing to be, even if it is a trans woman or a cis woman who's doing drag to be even more feminine, they are still usually basically playing a character. You are accessing the character. That's amazing. But just because you can reach out and touch them at your local breakfast bar, don't get it twisted.
Nice to me. She's not inviting me to go for
yeah. It just, you know, it's so, you know, that's my long-winded answer.
I don't believe in intimacy with performers. I'm an interactive girl alone. It's a personal preference. I don't even like the stage door. It's just not me. I can't do it. They put on their tits like everybody else, one bra at a time. So like, let's, for me, the like interactive is fine. I'm never looking for intimacy. I actually, I do enjoy seeing intimate shows because it intimate shows have a habit of being more interactive than the big ones. I actually don't like seeing performers when I'm in an arena or a stadium because I can't see them, and otherwise I'm just watching a screen, and then I'm like, well, I can do that from home for free. So I love shows where I love the bar shows. I love that more gritty, dirty, like we've got 15 people here and we can all sort of touch you, but it's not for the physicality of it. It's not for the I want to smell your sweat part of it. It's just that I like an interactive performing experience. So,
Tori, I really feel like you would love the Vegas show. It's funny because TK, I am probably more excited to see this year's Work the World with you in particular. I feel like your love of people understanding the same artists you love is such a huge part of how you engage with drag. But Tori, I love how you look at the production of something. And so I would love to see this show with you because even though I praise the intimacy, I think despite the fact that you just said intimacy is like almost a detractor for you, it's not a detractor for this show.
I mean, I watched the 1000th show thing, and it looks like the show is excellent. So I would.
You watched the Tons of Mute.
Oh yeah, I don't. We can turn that into a sidebar somewhere on a different episode because you'll get me started, and I don't feel like getting started. But yeah, I think for me, I don't think it. For me, intimacy is not something that I want to cultivate with performers. It's just it leads to a road that I am not that interested in. Like when they were like, Bianca Del Rio and Lavoie are going to do a cruise that leads to Mardi Gras, and won't that be fun? And look, it's at a time that you could maybe make happen. And my brain literally just went, you can't handle that. Don't go. It can only lead to jail time or tears. Like I'm just not one of the people who gets. I don't want to meet my heroes. It's not for me.
Jonah, you have met multiple girls. I mean, look at you being this beautiful, sexy boy next to Plain Jane. You are absolutely the Boston cream donut in this Dunkin' Donuts photo for her because she is a Boston girl. So, of course, she is a Dunkin' Donuts girl. How do you feel about the nature of Drag Race Live? You've seen, how many shows have you seen now? You've seen at least 2 tours with us. And the live show.
Yes. I believe.
That is quite a few.
Well,
how do you feel?
Oh. How do I feel? Well, I love it.
Do you also enjoy the intimacy of a live performance in these large things, Jonah?
Oh, don't threaten me with a good time. I love everything about everything. No, I enjoy the intimacy. I enjoy that, in Drag Race Live, they'll come out to the audience sometimes. You can say hi to people, be respectful, be kind. We're good audience members. We don't do anything untoward. It wasn't until before we saw Drag Race Live, when we saw the All Stars 9 tour, that was where I was like, oh, Drag Race fans are crazy. Watching them interact with some fans, I felt bad for the girls. Like, oh, you guys are being a little too much right now, but that's okay. I think fans will get better and better about being respectful, being okay about people's boundaries and privacy, and let's just go there to have a good time and be a good audience member.
It's tough. It really also varies performer to performer. When we did this meet and greet, this is no tea, no shade. This is just human beings being human beings. But we were, I think, the last meet and greet. So when we went up there, Yara and Morphine were talking amongst themselves for like a minute or two. before really realizing I was there, and they were so apologetic. We're so sorry, and I was polite about it. No, you guys worked all night. You did a great show, and we talked for about 30 seconds before the photographer was like, okay, let's take the picture. So that was my experience, and that, is also stuff that happens. Again, we never want to be parasocial with these girls, even when we meet them. My experience of getting to talk to Morphine, though, and really interact with her, even briefly, she was so sweet. She was so grateful for hearing that we were having a good time, that we appreciated the art. She was really wonderful, and it really changed my perception of her as a performer, because of the way that she's edited on a reality television program. Gives me a different perception than what I'd had previously. So that's where I think in some ways getting to have a better, closer interaction with performers can more positively inform your interaction. Plain Jane was exactly as unplugged as I thought she would be from the interaction I had with her. Jonah interacted with her more, and he really enjoyed his interaction, but she seemed a little more checked out. And maybe it was the end of the night, so there's any number of factors that can affect the way you watch them on the show, the way you interact with them in real life. I did stage doors when I was a kid, and I was really bummed when George Hearn walked away from an afternoon matinee, and that colored my perception of George Hearn for many years. So, these things happen. And do I now, as an adult, better understand that that's his right and he had things to do, and George Hearn is also old? Yeah, but as a young faggot who really loved putting it together, would I have loved to just get to say that to him? Yes. So, there is no matter what, an intimacy that is inherent between art and artist, because it creates such intimate feelings in you. And that's across every form of art, and even across forms of sports. So, it's tough. People say you should never meet your heroes, and sometimes you shouldn't, but sometimes you're lucky and it goes great.
It's really funny because when you're talking about the nature of Drag Race and how meeting your heroes might work out, Drag Race is filled with people who have the crown, but not necessarily the most respect. I feel like Katya, what a force in Drag Race, who does not have a crown, who is not a winner, yet I'm pretty sure she is cleaning up over in Draft Race.
She did all right. She did all right.
Also, speaking of people who are cleaning up in Draft Race, Jonah, wave your hand.
Oh, are you starting? Because that's not... I need a better transition than that for our live videos. You can't just zoom in. I'm so sorry. But for the repack, you need to wrap this up and then go in. We can't slide in because I need a chopping point. I'm sorry. But I love you.
All right. I'm going to do what I do whenever things get awkward. Hello. My name is Luca. I live on the second floor.
Did we have any final thoughts, or are we wrapped on this week?
I don't have any final thoughts. I just want to say that there are very few people on the planet Earth I love the way I love Josh Wheel. And the next couple of days are going to be a very Josh Wheel couple of days for me.
Fingers crossed, Josh.
There are very
you give great interview.
Who know how much I love to sing Luca and would sing it with me and sing every word. And so I have spent the last couple of days thinking about Josh every minute. And anybody who's out in Florida, just go give your love and go save the world and go make the universe safer for people who are just absolutely here to exist longer.
And vote.
And so I just want to take my chance, take my time, take my space. Josh Wheel was somebody who lifted me up when I was so scared that I didn't know how to come off the floor. He changed my life. He told me that I was worth living. He gave me everything I needed. And I just really hope that everybody in the world lets Josh give them what they need. He called me Captain America once, and I think he's Captain Universe.
Pulling up
So,
that audio.
Let's just one of the top 3 birthday gifts I've ever is Tori and Josh calling me Captain America. So
That was a good time.
I just thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity. I think about Josh every day, and I just want him to save the world. So
Can I also add, if you're in the other district, please vote Gay Valamont. She absolutely incredible. I've seen some of her stuff. She really, if you live in that district, that is a representative of someone who will take care of you, who will listen to you. And if you are unhappy with the way things are going, it is time for a change. So vote Josh, vote Gay, and vote.
Vote.
I guess I don't have anything else. Does anybody have anything else? Important political stuff or silly drag race, Project Runway stuff? Anything? All right, draft race. So I am so excited at how big my arms looked in that quick arms up, but also tonight is significant. I started this episode with we do not have a mini challenge kind of season, and I am following up with this episode and does not have a mini challenge. So this is an exciting opportunity to talk about the Rusical. I do not come to the Rusical for original songs. I can think of one original Rusical where I'm like, For the most part, original Rusicals are like Cher albums. They leave me pretty dry except for the singles, and it's pretty tough. But I love a good jukebox, I guess, because there's not that many songs. It's a playlist Rusical. I love a good playlist Rusical. So what we have tonight for Draft Race is the Rusical experience, and it's an exciting playlist Rusical. But to kick things off, I would really like everybody to proudly announce their badges. I am so proud that I have worked as a producer to earn badges, one each for Vanjie and Saphira, 2 of my favorite queens of all time. And speaking of my favorite queens of all time, Tori, you are just a double barrel loaded Ash versus the Evil Dead of drag queen producers. Talk to me about your badges.
I just, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you push your way to the top. And we got 2 for Shay and 2 for Roxy. That's 4 badges for Miss Tori.
All right. I love that. Jonah, you are over in the upper right-hand corner, and I see that you have an equally record-breaking number of badges. It's so hard to describe because you have 4 badges for 1 girl each, while Tori has 2 badges for 2 girls each. Talk to me about your 4 badge amazing commanding lead.
Yeah, I have a badge for 4 of my divas, Trinity, Nymphia, Rose, and Bianca, and none for Naomi, I guess. I'm gonna get Naomi her fucking badge. It's the last thing I do.
Life's just not fair. But TK, you have 3 badges, proudly pulling in, I guess, 2nd/3rd place. But talk to me what it's like to be 3 1-badge girls.
It is glorious. It's Katya, Jada, and Willow who have my badges. 3 queens I absolutely love. I picked a team of girls that I just thought would charm everybody, and I was never not going to pick the Queen of New England, Katya, but of course I did not consider the fact that Katya has a very low lip sync stat score for this game, and there have definitely been a couple of times where I might have gotten my diva her 2nd badge. Katya just can't stop winning the challenges and getting nominated to the lip sync. where she inevitably tanks it because the role is just not in her favor, and her -4 does not help at all. But that's okay. She's still the diva of divas, and Rusical is not her shiningest place, so she will be taking a nap this week.
I do want to say that I feel like performers like Katya fall into a really unique position where Susie Toot and Jinx kind of unfairly tilt the curve in one direction. Because, yes, there are musical theater queens, but, Katya has never delivered a bad vocal. She's not a musical queen, but, I can't think of a bad time Katya ever sung.
And she hasn't really done it that often. So, it's so funny because as the show evolves, there's so many things where it's it's not that you want a girl to come back and do All Stars. You just want to see how she would do a particular Drag Race challenge that seems fun.
That is the nature of the show, because you never want to give up on these girls. You fall in love with them. You want to see them continue. And then as their careers evolve, as they become new performers, new celebrities, you want to continue to bask in that glory. One of the things I love so much is that Lexi got to be her authentic self on air. But I think about how beautiful a season somebody like Bosco might have had if she got to be the beautiful woman she was inside every second on air, and how that would have transformed her trajectory completely. So, it's really about who they were at the beginning, who they were at the end, and this week, who they are at the beginning, no mini challenge. Who they are at the end, very maxi challenge. So, guys, as we said, it's the Rusical. When you're talking about Rusicals, we are talking about girls giving their all, committing to a performance. Does anybody have an absolute favorite Rusical performance? The number one. I think for me, it is a tie between Lady Camden in Moulin Rouge, Jan in Madonna, and frankly, Vanjie in what was the horror one?
Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby. Yes.
There are too many great Rusical performances to ever really pick 1, 2, or 3, but I love those 3 so much, and I'm so proud to be a fan of this new genre of musical. People talk about musical, they talk about jukebox musical, they talk about review, but the Rusical is its own thing. It's kind of like Panto meets an All That sketch.
Real.
Very real. Very real. Yeah, I'm excited. And you put together something really great, Nico. I'm so excited to drop into this and get it going.
I am pretty proud of this very unfairly tale. But one of the things that made it so exciting was that KEVO committed so much to the bit. Growing up, I was a church boy, and I sang a lot of silly little church leads, though none as many as my sister, who is to this day like a choir queen. But weirdly enough, my church group's choir leader's husband was like the executive of Playbill. So while she was involved with our church, all of our church playbills were authentic, legitimate playbills. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I thought all churches had legitimate playbills.
Oh.
I was like,
God bless those memories.
Truly. I was 17 at a Coptic wedding before I learned anything. And
before you learned everybody else was Xeroxes that are folded in half, and if you really splurge, it's color paper.
And can I just tell you, that is not the right yellow. So anyway, I just want to say that very few people commit to the bit like KEVO. And so I am pretty grateful for how hard KEVO worked to make this amazing image. KEVO, would you please introduce our Rusical?
Oh yes, the title of the musical is
Ta-da!
A Clue to Murder.
Ooh. Oh.
Drag queens love Clue. I don't have any statistics for this, but you know what I have? I have a lot of confidence. Anyone who's ever met me in person has said that guy has an unnecessary amount of confidence. And I can tell you.
Didn't
I'm
they just?
sure.
Yeah. And didn't they just announce the new Drag Race Clue tie-in?
That
board
is,
Oh yeah,
in
that's what this
fact,
board is. That's what my little background is. That's where I got it.
Yeah.
I was going to use this in a secret way to say, you know, KEVO loves very few things as much as he loves a dedicated cross-media promotion.
Mhm.
And this was just for my sweet, amazing husband. He loves Drag Race Clue, so I wanted to pay tribute to him with Drag Race Clue on air.
Mm.
Oh well, thank you.
So, this is Drag Race, a clue to murder, the Rusical. I almost said a clue to Rusical, the murder.
Ooh.
Now, as a songwriter, I am working on 2 musicals right now, and I'm always dropping tracks over on SoundCloud. The last couple of months have been my experiments with kind of like chill wave EDM, and I'm so grateful that everybody gave me that opportunity. But it is unnecessary to stroke my own ego, and I wanted to give that 15% back to Rusicals. So I chose songs that for me felt like the identity of the Rusical, whether they were RuPaul songs or show songs. I went with songs that for me explored the identity. And so we are using Glamazon by RuPaul, Dead or Alive from UK Season 6, Peanut Butter, Catwalk, and ASMR Lover by RuPaul, as well as Lucky by RuPaul and the cast of Season 14. So we are here to have a great time. This is Clue to Murder, the Rusical. One by one, the girls all strut in. And who are these girls? Well, let me tell you. These are your favorite fairy tale queens. We have several fairy tale families represented. The family White, led by Snow White. She is a brutal, hard-edged, sexy noir detective. And she's surrounded by her sisters. Vanta White, who is a sexy dame that runs the desk at the PI firm, as well as Off-White, who is a total idiot. We have the family Ella, led by Cinderella, the Queen of Kind. She runs a non-profit providing peanut butter and jelly all over the world, as well as her sister, Christinarella, the Queen of Kind Bars. She's a strong woman power lifter who is always eating. Can I tell you, that is my literal dream woman, Jesus Christ. You can occasionally see the things I write are very me. We have the family Unzel, led by Rapunzel, a nerdy, book-obsessed shut-in, and her brother Bropunzel, a huge man whore. We also have the family Butte, Sleeping Beauty, a brilliant, complicated astrophysicist and model. She's also exceedingly warm. And of course, her cousin, awake but ugly McGillicuddy, a woman...
Don't tell us more, Dickens.
A woman who is often awake, but never pretty, and is also Sleeping Beauty's photographer. You know, when you write a joke for one person on the entire planet, and I wrote this joke for Jonah so specifically, awake but ugly McGillicuddy is like,
I love it. I love her.
she's your drag name. There's also 3 additional characters. Mrs. Body, a conniving queen of mean, a master manipulator and bitch. There's the maid. She's only doing this to pay for glue school, where she'll learn all about glue. And, of course, the butler. He doesn't like to talk about himself, so just check out his car on his social media account. And I do want to say that the White family is Snow, Vanta, and White, but whatever girls' team is casting the Ella family will also be casting the Mrs. Body role. Whatever team is casting the family Unzel will also be casting the maid, and whatever team is casting the family Butte will also be counted in the casting of the butler. So we have 3 girls per team, 4 teams, and amazingly, we each pick 3 girls, and there are 4 of us. Can't think of anything easier to make this work. How are you guys feeling about A Clue to Murder? Where I'm so sorry, I forgot the plot. Fuck.
Oh,
It's okay. I'm excited to find out how the mini is going to lead to the order of how we choose.
No mini.
No, there's no
I'm
mini.
going to arbitrarily give it to Jonah because he has the most girls with the most badges. You guys were tied, but
That's
you
fair.
have 2 girls with 2 badges. He has
That's
4
fair.
girls with 1 badge. And as far as I'm concerned, that's 4 versus 2, and that's a bigger number. So
That's
it's got to go
fair.
to Jonah.
Yeah.
And that's the math that Rue uses. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel really confident because she's too Paul.
It's girl
Um,
math.
Oh my God, does that make her Spock's mom? So the plot of this.
Well, do we want to Mad Libs this and make sure that we have the cast before we read the plot so we know who's playing each part? Because I think everyone else already read their dossier.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
true, Kevo. You know, it's really funny because
on the chat.
as Rue, I'm always thinking about how cute I'm going to look in the video. I
Yep.
forget to think about how cute I'm going to look on the single cover. Michelle, thank you.
This is why she has that white streak in the front of her hair.
Yeah, this is the part where we get to fight about what we want, maybe.
Yeah.
So, speaking of fighters, ain't gonna stop, ain't gonna give up. They've had enough. Jonah, you get to pick which family you are part of, and which family picks next.
I think I'm going to take the family Ella.
The family Ella. So Jonah will be picking 3 girls to play Cinderella, Christinarella, and Mrs. Body. Can I tell you that I thought that I would laugh the hardest at Christinarella, but I almost peed myself in a wig, but ugly McGillicuddy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself. I feel like a
I also
queen.
keep thinking you're saying in a wig but ugly. So that's her sister in a wig.
So
Anyway.
Jojo, not only do you get the family Ella, but you get to pick who picks next.
I'm going to give it to Tori.
Oh my. Okay, so I am going to choose the family White, please.
Thank God, because I had already had that written in my notepad file that you were going to choose the family White. So far, everybody is picking exactly what I thought they'd pick. Tori, who are you going to pick next? Please pick TK.
I'm sorry, what?
Please pick TK, because I want to see if this is going to go exactly how I thought it would.
All right. TK.
50-50
good
or
luck.
something.
No, I think you think I'm gonna pick the family Butte, and I'm going to pick the family Unzel.
Nope, I literally created the maid for you. I quite literally was like, what would he have no idea
Wait,
what to do?
literally?
Glue
I mean,
school.
my second option was the Unzels, so
That's okay. Well, that's where I
No,
was wrong.
I really
genuinely
just-
thought you'd pick the family Butte, Tori. Like that was my second choice.
I did it because I know how much you like Tangled, and I thought you would want the family Unzel, so I wanted to be disruptive.
I thought you would pick Bro Punzel to have fun with your bro, because like, so for those of you who don't understand that, like, I generally tell everyone else what to do except KEVO, Tori, and TK, and Rich. They tell me what to think.
Jonah's out here catching strays.
Jonah will sometimes even say to me, like, Pop, what should I think? And I'll tell him what to think, and he'll go, no, I had engineer thoughts. Thank you for your input. I love you. And like, just kind of go do brilliant science things that change the world. So like, I am very confident about my situation. Okay, so to remind everybody, Tori is picking 3 girls to play Snow White, a brutal, hard-edged, sexy noir detective; Vanta White, a sexy dame who runs the desk at the PI firm where Snow White works; and Off-White, a total idiot.
Ooh.
JoJo will be casting the family Ella as well as Mrs. Body. Now that's Cinderella, the queen of kind, who runs a nonprofit serving peanut butter and jelly all over the world, as well as Christinarella, the queen of kind bars, who is a strong woman that is a power lifter who is always eating, and Mrs. Body, a conniving queen of mean and master manipulator and bitch. TK represents the family Unzel, who is the Queen Rapunzel, a nerdy book-obsessed shut-in; Bropunzel, her brother, who is a huge man whore; and the maid, who's only doing this to pay for glue school, where she'll learn all about glue. That leaves me with the family Butte, Sleeping Beauty, a brilliant, complicated astrophysicist and model who is also exceedingly warm; Awake but ugly McGillicuddy. I can't get through that. This woman is often awake but never pretty. And she is Sleeping Beauty's photographer. God, I should not have written things that make me laugh. I will also be casting the butler, who is not here to talk about himself, but is here to talk about his car.
Vroom vroom. Start your engines.
So, ladies, I am so excited to hear your teams. I am so ready to kind of engage with this. The thing that I thought about when I was writing this, I started a Rusical for the Rusical, and as Tori and I were working through it, because like this whole game is me and Tori, like it's an indivisible ampersand. Like this is 2 people having 50% of the ideas, sometimes 51% of the ideas, which is why this game is 102%.
I was gonna say sometimes it's 150% ideas on each of ours, and we have a 300% game that we need to somehow trim down.
And so there's no part of this game that isn't both of us. And so as we were talking about this Rusical, and as we were developing it, I'm a songwriter, she's a stage manager. It became its own creature. And so like I wanted to sit down and share something with everybody and get some input on some ideas. And like one of the things when I came to this idea of the Rusical, I think the thing that I thought about the most was this is a moment that everybody will share. And I remember when I did my senior year musical, I referenced it earlier, this is 20 years ago, and 21 years ago, I wrote a musical, and my senior class did it. And then in college, I wrote a musical and it was performed. And then I wrote an opera and it was recorded by University of Amherst. And so like I've written several musicals and I've had it performed. And like the thing that is hard to talk about, and like you can't find a way to talk about. There's like, if cotton candy were crunchy and it were in your heart, and it was this warm feeling that spread through your veins and your body, and it was the wind on your skin. Like, to be part of a cast with other people is literally indescribable. And I wanted to suggest characters to get everybody's feedback, where they were characters that echoed what mattered to us, like what mattered to us in a Rusical. And I think about how people like Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber defined artistry for 30 years, but I think about the last 10 years of musicals and how it's a different game. And so when you pull up a rusical, you're talking about people like me who are defined by Rent, Sweeney Todd, and Cabaret. And you're talking about people like Jonah, who came to musicals for things like Book of Mormon and would come back for Hadestown. You're talking about people like Tori, whose definition of a musical is the broadest, most powerful, most fulfilling swath of shows that have existed. And you're talking about people like TK and KEVO, who have their unique breadth of shows, where TK's is on the 20% side and KEVO's is on the 80% side. And they represent this perfect balance. And the five of us are what these producers deal with when they go to create a rusical and then cast 9 girls in these roles. And they don't think they're going to have 9 girls, but goddamn Andre Charles, the Esquire, decided that nobody's going home the previous week. So that one flying monkey becomes 2. And I think that the rusical is its own genre of show. And I think it's worth talking about. Thank you guys for giving me 13 minutes.
Oh, anytime. I think that this is one of the parts of this draft race that was always going to be a little it's going to be the hardest to replicate for the general audience to do on their own. Like, we can provide a rusical idea for people to use, but for people to come up and create their own, I think is going to be a little past a lot of people. And
so then we'll just I'll go ahead and I'll write the songs. Tori, you're so right. I guess I'll write the songs and people can buy them. I'm
just saying that I actually think that, as someone who came into this draft a little cocky, I've been relatively humbled. Thank you. By what this is, because I think there's also the fact that we receive a lot of information day of, so we don't actually have a lot of time to think about it, which the girls in the room don't either. And players who want to play this perhaps in one whole evening together may also not have the time to sit down and think about, the 17 ways that you should be designing an outfit made out of trash, that kind of stuff. And I think I think that this is one of the big ones where it's just like, oh yeah, we gotta put a little brain time into this, and it's not as easy as you think. And I think this when we eventually become billionaires off of selling this to every soul in the world, I think that people will have a better appreciation for what these poor gals got to do in a giant pink room with all lights and no sleep, like an awake but ugly McGillicuddy.
Can I tell you that one thing that people don't ever appreciate is how often I sit here at my keyboard and my mother, my father, growing up, my husband and my boyfriend as adults sit here and put up with me going,
Aw, TK wasn't ready for that.
And like, you don't know.
You sound exactly like the video of your nephews that your parents are playing downstairs right now.
Truly. You do not understand what it is like to perform in a vacuum without the universe understanding what you are doing. And like, these girls are at best sitting in their room going, I'm a princess. Eat my cunt. Dicks, all the nipples. And like, is what they're literally doing in their bedrooms at night.
Yeah.
For rusicles, guys. It's one of the most unique experiences, and I am really proud to get to be a part of this sort of like system of songs. It's exciting to get to do this with you guys.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, so fun.
You know,
Let's show up, show out.
I'm here to show up and show out. I want to know, I've gotten just about everybody's girls, but Tori, what's the category?
Category is we are in my goodness, we are in talent, ladies and gentlemen. Talent.
Thank God, because I have been absolutely banking all of this on being talent, so I am quite relieved.
Things we should call sooner. But yes, this is talent. Much like how Snatch Game was talent, and how the talent show is also talent, funnily enough, crazy. But these are things where we really feel like it's about digging something deeper, something that is trainable, something that is quantitatable, that charisma and nerve and uniqueness kind of are more difficult to pin down. Talent can be expressed in so many ways, and definitely the Rusical is one of the ones that can bring it out in you.
You know, and one of the things about the Rusical that is so exciting is that it makes it tough, because like people do good improv, they do good acting, but like the moment you ask somebody to sing, the moment you ask somebody to hold their face differently, to emote differently, it brings out something really different. You know, I think Jonah is very funny, but I don't know that Jonah has ever had like the technical musical training that somebody might have to be on Broadway. It doesn't make him not musically funny. It doesn't make him not talented, but like a musical is such a crafted, unique example of media, and it can be really difficult to meet that bar.
Yeah, and like there is a certain talent to be able to make your face say anything other than 1, 2, 3, dance over here, 4, 5, 6. Oh God, here's the A. Like, if you're to be able to do all of the things to get you to the musical talent portion is a lot. And it does comprise a lot of points that I think a lot of drag queens have to handle. Poise, and picking up skills and dancing and having a joie de vivre that you can feel from the back row. So it's a lot of fun.
All right, so I am pulling together all of my numbers for everybody. I am getting everybody's cast, so please make sure you have sent your cast to me, the guy who tallies the votes, because I do not have everybody's cast right now. So
it's fine. You can say Tori. I sent it to KEVO. I'm sorry. I'm on it.
All good. So I am so excited to bring everybody their casts. One cast that I know I definitely have is TK's. TK, would you mind kicking us off? Oh, we can't hear you at all. It's, I'm sure, very handsome.
So I have got Jada Essence Hall as Rapunzel, because of course you're going to have Jada Essence Hall as Rapunzel. She's gorgeous. She's going to take to that insane wig like nobody's business. And, you know, I think that she has taken some singing lessons in preparation for this competition. And she is ready to do ASMR Lover. I have Bob as Bropunzel. Now this is an interesting one. Bob is non-binary. Bob often presents with a little bit of a feminine flair, but I think Bob will really embrace being Jada's big brother and doing a bit of a himbo role for one time. It's something that we don't usually see Bob doing. And so I think to do it one particular time would be really fun. I think Bob ultimately would find a way to make it really funny and yet really kind of like sexy and bro. And then, of course, we have Willow Pill as the maid because she just wanted to wear the outfit.
Fair.
All right, Tori, what you got?
So, I have, starring as Snow White, the brutal, hard-edged noir detective, it is Shea Coulee. This is Shay's opportunity to provide layers, to be fierce, to hit you with those eyes and the cut and the look, but still be stunning and gorgeous. And then next to her, we've got the sexy dame herself, Miss Roxy Andrews, running the desk. I would love, and I know that Ghostbusters is a pastiche on a noir film, etc., but just the idea of like Roxy as Vanna White just picking up the phone like they do in Ghostbusters, just like, hello, it's Family White PI, how can we help you? Like, oh, I would die. I think Roxy can be both sexy and that like disaffected gal at the desk really well. And then our favorite, Miss Off-White, will be played by Plastique Tiara, who I think can just give a really nuanced, blank-eyed stare and really she's an excellent straight man. That's one of the things I loved about her in Rosemary's Baby Shower, was watching her like be the center of all the chaos. And I feel like we need a little bit of that from Off-White, because the other two are going to be so big that we need that there, while still coming in with like some of the stupid little things where she can stand out in a moment. I think that'll really pop for her.
I love that. Jonah, what do you got?
I have Nymphia as Cinderella. Nymphia is obsessed with bananas, so peanut butter and jelly and bananas, anyone?
Ooh.
That would be a fun role. Christina Rella, I'm giving to Rose. Rose has one of the most beautiful voices that's ever graced Drag Race, and I think she would fight for the Christina Ella role.
Ooh.
And I needed someone who could be a bitch, mean, and everything in between. I wanted Naomi to be Miss Bobby.
Ooh.
Loving it, love it, think it's so great. For myself, I have cast Saphira as Sleeping Beauty. She is brilliant, she is complicated, she is an astrophysicist. I have cast Heidi as Awake But Ugly McGillicuddy, because I feel like between Heidi and Simone, Heidi does maybe exaggerated drag that lends itself to like hideous a little better. It's not that Heidi is hideous, but Heidi captures that kind of like severe a little better than Simone does for me, which leaves Simone as the butler. She could absolutely play a hot guy who is obsessed with her car. Fucking look at her out of drag. What a hottie. So like, I don't feel I've done anybody any disservices. So altogether, Tori's team, the Family White, is Shea as Snow White, Roxy as Vanna White, and Plastique as Off-White. That's JoJo casting Nymphia as Cinderella, Rose as Christina Rella, and Naomi as Mrs. Body. TK has cast the family Unzel with Jada as Rapunzel, Bob as Bropunzel, and Willow as the maid. Myself, I have cast the family Butte with Saphira as Sleeping Beauty, Heidi as Awake But Ugly McGillicuddy, and Simone as the butler. So I am eager to get your votes, but while you're voting, To
Yes.
express with the crowd, the soundtrack tonight is going to be built, like I said, of RuPaul and Drag Race songs. The first song is Glamazon. We have Dead or Alive from UK Season 6. Peanut Butter, Catwalk, and ASMR Lover by none other than RuPaul Andre Charles herself. And then Lucky by the cast of Season 14. The Rusical itself, well, one by one, the girls strut in like it's a red carpet because each one is a Glamazon, which is where they'll all be singing Glamazon line by line. The families show up to the mansion where they are greeted by the butler. They socialize and trade reads in the doorway until the maid informs them that dinner is served. Around the table sit 9 people. Snow, Off, and Vanta White, Cinda and Christina Arella, Ra and Bro Punzel, Sleeping Beauty, and Awake But Ugly McGillicuddy, which of course leaves the 10th seat, the head of the table, free. Mrs. Body enters, ready to take the head of the table, flanked by the butler and the maid. Mrs. Body reveals that she has dirt on each and every girl sitting here and will continue to blackmail their asses until suddenly the lights go out. When the lights come back on, Mrs. Body, the butler, and the maid are... What no? Oh no. Oh no. So, now it's time to figure out who died and how. Now, Vanta begins taking notes, as of course she is a secretary extraordinaire. While
Got
Awake
nails
But
a
Ugly-
mile long.
While Awake But Ugly photographs the crime scene so they can find out who is, in fact, dead or alive. One of the signature songs of the show. Now, Sleeping Beauty rushes into the butler. He's dead, but his mouth smells like peanut butter. So Sleeping Beauty figures it out. By scrolling through the butler's social media, she finds a pic with Christina Rella and another photo referencing he's allergic to peanut butter. So, of course, Sleeping Beauty accuses that it must be Cinderella with the peanut butter. But Cinderella denies it. Snow White notices that the maid's neck is broken. She notices that she must have been pushed from that above catwalk.
Look over there.
Now, when the maid fell, she landed on some of her glue. So, the killer must be whoever is sticky. Now, Rapunzel is very sticky, and because Bro Punzel has come home sticky every night, Snow believes that Rapunzel must be tired of it. Rapunzel swears it isn't so, which leads us to when Cinderella and Rapunzel notice that not only is Mrs. Body gone, but there are strange noises. They listen closely to figure out what happened, and of course, it is time to become an ASMR lover. Listening for weird noises, just let me have this. They follow the sounds. Mrs. Body is escaping with all of that blackmail. And Horace did all the murders. But Off-White trips, knocking over a candle, which knocks over a statue, which brings down a chandelier on Mrs. Body. Having stopped their blackmailer, the girls all agree. It's Pam Grier time. All agree that they are lucky. They are so lucky. And now we are here to appreciate this brilliant jukebox rusical of some of the best songs by RuPaul and the show itself. I think every one of your girls is going to serve an absolutely crown-winning performance. No one is here to say that anybody's girl did less than the best. But what I need from each one of you is to know your scores and how you feel about each one of these girls. Don't forget to send your order within the groups or total. Either way works for me. I do the math, so we're fine. But one of the things that I do love is that, like we said earlier, I don't think of Vivanji as like a musical queen. I think of her as somebody who does a good show, who puts on a good performance and makes me laugh. But one of the things that I really loved about getting to see her in a musical was that it transformed how I thought about her performance. She was able to elevate the show while not changing who she was. That's like the magic of a musical that doesn't ask you to actually do like Yul Brynner pretending to be Asian. So I am here to find out what you guys think about musicals. Did anybody have anything that just made their musical heart sing?
I love the musical as a wannabe musical theater gay because I want to be on stage. No, I don't. The musicals are great, and they've been I have loved how much better and how amazing the musicals have been in the past years. Every single year, it seems like we just get a better and better musical, and it's my favorite thing in the entire world. I also doubly love it because RuPaul's not a musical fan. It's crazy.
Irony.
She's not, and I find it very fascinating what musicals they put in front of her to try to get her interested in the genre. It's very interesting. It's very millennial coded, which is fascinating, really.
I think they should follow UK5 and do some more interesting things in lieu of a musical that's similar, like them doing the Panto Challenge, which was their kind of version of a musical. I think leaning into that could be their way of shaking things up a little bit. I know we don't really have typically that much, like that kind of idea too much in Drag Race. In the US, I should say, not Drag Race. But I would love that if they could find a way to find something in similar stage production. And so this way, we're not boring RuPaul with it, because it is her show after all.
Yeah. And maybe we'll have less share then.
No, RuPaul will always want a little share moment. RuPaul is a simple woman. She has a couple of things she really loves. The Wizard of Oz, Cher, and the night the lights went out in Georgia's speech from Designing Women. Those are like the three things that RuPaul loves. Oh, and Georgia's. All right, you got and four things, and Georgia's.
Yeah.
Which sort of makes me think they need to do the nights the lights went out in Georgia's.
Wow.
Just about her
Apparently,
vacant
lights
stare
have always been kind of out on George's.
I was gonna say, just her
Let's do
vacant
that.
stare from being too high. That would really be.
Lotus.
And I love the challenge that NICO created, because I do think Rue would really love. I mean, Rue always loves when it's her music, and I think on top of that, the funnier, stupider way you can figure out why a song should be like the person's mouth smells like peanut butter in order to get peanut butter to be the song is,
Her
fantastic
mouth
stuff.
smells just like.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's Rue. When Rue says there's no room for earnesty, that I think is what we should be talking about. Of course it can be whatever she wants in any moment. It is her show, blah 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 blah. But doing stupid stuff like that and having a little fun with it, I think, is really the reason for the season and what feels authentic to me.
And speaking of the reason for the season and what feels authentic to me, the reason for the season is Tori, who went ahead and created half of this show. And I just got to be like, Tori, I don't know what to say. I'm fucked sideways, like literally.
Oh no! What did we do?
Everybody has a winner except you, who got
Who's got
first, second, and third place from all your votes. And I just need to let you know that the only reason that you have an actual winner is specifically because no, actually, I'm lying. Tori, you need to pick. Who do you want to win, Shay or Roxy?
Let's go with Roxy. She's got a better lip sync score.
Oh shit, does she? Oh, well, maybe just the greatest lip sync score in the history of the show. No big deal. NBD. So
It's an easy
Tori's, I
pick.
guess, is Roxy. Who could have fucking guessed? But for the rest of us human beings
Said
who
I was
have
a
to
little
deal
humbled.
with people who don't have a lip sync score of 8, I guess, whatever. I am super proud to brag that the one and only alcohol with the diamonds in it, Saphira Cristal, is my queen. Of course, like we said, Tori is rocking the very cool Roxy. That beyond leads us to TK, who is bringing in some amazing energy with the one and the only Jada, and brings us to Jonah, who is representing the only way you can represent a rusical, with Rosé.
Ooh.
Now, I like the way this lined up. I think I should lip sync TK, and I think Tori should lip sync Jonah. It just makes life easy. The way this works, remember one more time, is we go to google.com, we put in roll 20, and we roll some D20, right? I am here to roll a D20. Sorry. It's my first 20. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
I
It's
haven't
not
had
my-
one.
It's not my first one.
Oh, you've had more than one?
Yes.
Well, I
Just
just
more
want
than
you to
20
know-
though too. So
Yeah,
you've
I
rolled so many
actually
20s.
I rolled two 20s in a row. Or maybe it was two 19s, but I had some crazy luck. So I lost this one. That's okay.
Well, I just want everybody to know that Jada is an absolute queen in our hearts and
Yeah.
in this
Mhm,
game.
mhm.
And passing to two queens who absolutely know what it's like to be 20s out of 10. Tori and Jonah, roll some dice for us.
Roll.
Yeah.
I got a 4, so I have 12.
Oh, I rolled a 16, so I have 13.
He takes it.
I won by
Alright.
one.
wow, with those stats too. That's really
I
cool. That's
know.
what I love
That's
about
impressive.
this game.
Genuinely, yeah. Rosé versus Saphira feels implausible, but like what an incredible opportunity for vocalists to perform against one another. I myself
Woo!
am feeling Patty versus Bernadette. So, you ready to go at this, JoJo?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You got a 19.
Nice. I rolled a 12, so that makes a total of 9 for me.
I won something. It's never
Saphira!
happened.
Welcome to the 2 badge club, baby.
Well, I maybe wish that somebody who didn't have a badge once might have more girls with badges. But if anybody's gonna have 2 badges, it would be me. No, but I love that Saphira has 2 badges. That's so amazing. 2018, I just feel really cute. Thank you, random internet gods. I think you're really great. Thank you. But what I do want to say is that there are no real losers this episode, because one of the things that a rusical really brings out is what makes artistry great. It brings out the magic of each girl. It brings out what makes performers special and different. And what makes Saphira special is that 4.5 octave vocal range. What makes Rosé special is a passion in every single note she hits. What makes Roxy special is a commitment to every moment of dance. And what makes Jada special is a complete warmth that comes across in every moment of that performance. We're talking about absolute superheroes of performance, and we're talking about an unbelievable producer who put it all together. KEVO, I know you don't have a girl in this game, but what you are is you're our girl in this game, and I could not be more grateful
My
to you
girl-
for what you do.
My girl is this game.
Well, we feel like the black beauty to your stable, and until we come back, Tori, you are the half architect of this game. You are such a genius, and I'm so grateful because I could not have done this without you. Where can everybody find you and your fabulousness on the lines?
You can find me online at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
And Jonah, if you were both Joey Fatone and Mandy Moore and Lance Bass and BB Mac, and you were laying it on the line for your love, where could everybody find you online? That reference is older than you.
I'm pretty sure
Not-
I
no.
would be Mary Tyler Moore, Tyler Moore. Over
do you like it?
online at Peak Jonah.
You are absolutely as fantastic as a basket of muffins. And until I get to be in your basket, KEVO, where can everybody check out your hot ass producing skills?
Well, you can check out my producing skills overall here on our channel, X is for Show, where we have been doing a lot of really fun stuff lately. On Friday night, we did a ranking of 50 characters, 39 main cast members, and 11 hopefuls from Grey's Anatomy for 20 years.
According to me, 2 feet.
Oh, yeah, no, because I was like, who lost? Because you know what, it's Grey's Anatomy. I was like, what happened with feet? Like Superstore. I thought it was like a thing. But no, you can check the
Arizona.
comments. Yeah, there you go. That's one. And then there's was Arizona's foot the one that they found, that Christina found? I never really caught that. Because there was the foot that she had at the plane crash, right? She was like, but yeah, so that was fun. Grey's Anatomy is fun. So you can always check out our coverage of that. You can check out our coverage of Daredevil. We do so many fun things. You can check us out this weekend at AwesomeCon in DC, where we will be one of the panels for the Pride Alley content. So Friday night we'll be doing that.
Yes, get into
growing up here.
AwesomeCon.
So yeah, okay, it's a children's panel, so put the tongue away. Jesus Christ. Anyway, you can find me on the social, trying to keep this one tame, at KEVO Really. That's KEVO
Well, I can't be tamed. I can't be shamed. I can't be blamed. I can't expect something beautiful to be good. If it's good, it's because God loves me, but I am convinced it is just going to be a cocaine fever dream. Oh, speaking of cocaine fever dreams that are really good, TK, where can I get you where can I find you online?
My whole life is thunder. At TK Accidental on all your socials. NICO, last but never least, where do you make music? Where do you post online? What are you doing? How are those glasses feeling? Tell us everything.
Well, like a Newfound Glory EP, I am amazing and full of covers, and you can check me out at NICO Action, NICO ACTION, as well as online for all of my musics at NICO Action Music, NICO ACTION MUSIC. But the thing that I would really love for you guys to do, more than checking me out, more than checking out the music, is checking out all of the feeds of this show. HTML, that's Husbands Talking More or Less. X is for Podcast, that's all the cool comic stuff we do. And X is for Show, that's all of the amazing stuff with this crew of amazing people. So if you guys want to do us a favor, number 1, like. Number 2, comment. Number 3, subscribe. But I would never make number 3 subscribe. I would really make number 1 subscribe. It's just the order. We say like, comment, and subscribe. We don't say like, subscribe, order, comment, like. I just really want to eat dinner. I'm so hungry. Anyway, 3 things you guys can do beyond that. Number 1, you guys can stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. Every day, it's another crazy thing happening. But number 2, you guys can be brave because we love who you are. Number 3, though, don't forget to evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, incredible. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And until you guys can eat a 2.5-hour broadcast like it's motherfucking dinner, we will see you next time.